good evening and welcome to All About Sport from the top of the town studio here in Conley Street in Cavan. As you can see, it's not Louise O'Reilly that's presenting the show tonight. She's tilting the kilt in Scotland, and we wish her very well. Tonight we feature Crosserlough Camogie Club. They're hugely successful, as you see in a couple of minutes from the Silverware. I think I haven't seen as much Silverware on a single table in a long time. So you're welcome here to the All About Sport, and it's a great achievement throughout the year. So we have Charlie Galligan, Mary Rahal, Angela O'Reilly and Roisin Martin. Welcome. Charlie, you're chairman and selector, and you're also on the county board. Maybe you give us just a brief summary of the club.
Well, my involvement with the Camogie Club started about 3 years ago. I would always have been involved with the football club, but never really got involved with the Camogie. And 3 years ago, I decided to throw my hat in, and it was one of the best things I ever done, I have to say. It's led to great success for the club. The first year I became involved, we got to the county final. We were beaten in that and tried to push on. The following year, last year, as I said earlier, for various reasons, the final wasn't played, but we represented Cavan in Ulster. We were beaten in the Ulster final, so this year we made the all-out push and success followed.
Right. I suppose Camogie is competing with a lot of the other sports that's taken part in the county, but even in the GAA, where you have the hurling and the football, and getting time for practice and all that on club grounds. How would you go about that?
Oh, it's difficult in Killeneck, but I have to say our neighbouring club Ballymacue have been very good to us, because most of our training is actually done on their grounds. With so many active people in Killeneck and the Crosserlough club, the playing time or training time is very scarce on the field. But as I said, the neighbouring club Ballymacue have been very, very good to us to facilitate our training.
Right, and we would have featured some of the football clubs and some of the hurling clubs, but particularly the football ones, the level of training that they need to be successful. It must mean a lot of hours for yourself and the girls.
Basically, I suppose we'd have trained twice a week right throughout the summer, and a lot of the time then we played challenge games, or we had competitive games in Cavan, so I suppose it was 3 nights a week commitment towards Camogie.
Right. Well, we'll go to you, Mary. You're one of the players. It must be a great achievement, the Silverware, but your involvement with the sport, maybe you'd give us background to when you got involved and what it means to you playing for a successful team.
Well, it's an absolute great honour, so it is, to be playing with the team at the minute. I would have started through national school, so right from 6 or 7 years of age you would have been playing right up the whole way, and then throughout the years there would have been an under 14 team, an under 16 team, and then straight away you would have been thrown into the junior end of it. So for a long time there probably was only the juniors, do you know what I mean, and then we got up to intermediate, and then we joined the seniors then as well. So in 1999 that was the first time we ever won the senior championship. And then we stayed up there since. Now there's only 3 senior teams in Cavan, so we were always there and thereabouts. But 2 years ago in 2008 we made the final again. We were a bit unlucky, so we were. But then this year we kind of proved it all, where we won Championship League, the sevens, and now we're after winning the Ulster final as well. So it's great, so it is, for the whole club.
Well, even though there might be only 3 clubs, but when you come down to a final, there's only 2 clubs in it.
Well, that's it at the end of the day,
a lot of games in between before you get to a final.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's great, so it is. Like, there is 3 clubs in Cavan, 3 senior clubs, you know what I mean? So it's kind of based on the league, so you kind of have to play home and away, do you know what I mean? So there is a lot of games throughout it, but it's great, so it is.
And the competition is strong?
Very strong, yeah, definitely. Like, there's a lot of girls out there doing an awful lot of training, playing camogie and football at the same time, do you know? It's good.
All right, and Angela, you're obviously still, you're a player, but what type of association do you have with it? Do you have to travel far to train, or?
Well, no, I'm lucky enough now that I live locally, so I don't have that burden to travel, long distances to come to training or to matches. But there are a lot of girls on the panel, and they are travelling down from college, or they're travelling from work, you know, they're coming from Dublin and places like that. Some of the girls are actually studying abroad at the moment. They're studying in Edinburgh, and they're coming home for games and for some trainings as well. So, you know, there's a huge effort been put in by everybody on the panel.
Right. And you said that the panel, many have you on the panel?
We've about 30 of a panel. So it's a good, strong panel. We probably haven't had a stronger panel for a number of years. So we're blessed from that point of view. It's great when, you know, you're starting 15, you have as good a players on the, you know, on the entire panel that they can come in, you know, and make substitutions during a game, and they just blend in straight away with the rest of the team.
The panel also gives competition for places on...
Absolutely, and it means your training is much more worthwhile as well, because you have the numbers at training to have a good competitive training session.
Right. And Roisin, you're sitting in front of the cups.
Yes.
What's the sort of feeling when you're there and holding up the cup at the end of a game?
Well, it's just fantastic, and from my point of view, I'm a newcomer to Crosserlough this year. With my old team Ballina, we just didn't have the numbers to sustain a team anymore, and it says a lot for where Camogie stands in Cavan. But at the start of the year, when we were in Ballina with 5-6 people turning up to training, never would have dreamt to be sitting in front here with 3 cups in front of me after changing teams. It's an absolutely unbelievable feeling, and I feel very, very lucky to be part of the situation as it is now.
But some people, they don't realise the amount of work and training and everything that goes behind a successful team. And maybe, Charlie, do you have say people who maybe specialise in different areas in physical activity and in skills, and I know you're a selector, but are you also involved with the training?
Well, I'd be at the training sessions, but really the training sessions are all handled by Colin McAvoy. And look, Colin within the county or within the country is one of the best trainers. His motivational skills, his trainings are one of the best you'll ever see any place. And I think we in Crosserlough are very lucky to have him at the present time.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll just show up. Maybe we start at the first one. You have the senior championship. Maybe you'd show us the cup and talk through the.
That's there.
No, we'll just hand it over here and we'll show it in front of the camera. And maybe you talk just about the competition and what sort of spirit there was in the team, and how you managed to succeed. Was it a hard fought game and many scores?
Yeah, it was a very hard fought game, because at the beginning of the year our first championship match was against Castletara, and we actually lost the first game, so we knew from that night up that we had to up the game completely. So there was a big turnout then for every training session after that. We went on then to beat Lacken, so we did, and we had to play Castletara then in the semi-final again, so which brought us through into the final. The final was held here in Breffni Park on a Sunday, so it was us against Lacken. It was very tight. We started off quite well, so we did. Lacken probably got the first 2 or 3 scores, and then we got 2 goals. It continued kind of like that for a while, so it did, and then we kind of just broke away from them. Now, there was only 3 points in it in the end, but it was a very hard-fought game, do you know what I mean? So. And
what would you have learned from the first game in particular?
Definitely.
Any games, pardon?
We definitely learned from the first game, like you know what I mean? When we went into the dressing room, there was an awful lot of heads hanging down, so there was, and we were like, well, if we don't bucken it up now, this is the end of the camogie for us, do you know what I mean? So after that game, the next night at training, everybody was out at it. There was friendly games organised, different things like that, do you know what I mean? So we just had to up it. So from the first game we lost, every game after that we've actually won. So we're on a winning streak at the minute, so hopefully long may it last.
So the hard work after
after the initial beating,
right.
You know.
And I suppose success breeds success as well. And Angela, would that have been a similar thing? Where maybe we'll just show the other cup that you won.
That's the League Cup.
We'll just have it here. Maybe just talk about that.
Well, the league was something similar, I think, to the championship. It would have started off in the early part of the year, April, May, we had the first couple of games, and then the championship happened immediately after that, and our league final was about 2 weeks after the championship final. So we were going into that game, again we were facing Lacken, but we were going into it with a little bit more confidence, having beaten them in the final. But we really wanted to do the double. So again, it was a tight game as well. There wasn't an awful lot in it in the end. I think a similar scoreline. There could have been 4 or 5 points maybe in it in the end. But we just really wanted to do the doubles, so everybody had to dig deep. It didn't come easy.
So and with you not, you know, we would have featured some other clubs before, and some of them might have won 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row, and people saying, you know, they're ever going to give up a title. But with you, like, this is your second title.
It's our second senior title. Yeah, it's the second league title as well.
Right.
The last
and how many clubs would have won doubles or?
Well, Lacken would have won doubles, for maybe 3 or 4 years. Castletara would have as well. They'd have a strong history in it. So we're really only sort of breaking into it.
On the game. And Roisin, we have one cup left, and maybe we'll just pass it up and get you to talk about it.
Yeah, that's the Ulster Championship Cup that we won just there recently. It was a great campaign. Now, once we got out of the Cavan Championship, I know the words bonus territory was used, but once you're in it and once it's a serious competition, it's not bonus territory. You want to win it. Our first game was against Derry Tresk, I think from Tyrone. And we went in knowing that was going to be a tough game, and we won well that day, and we were lucky we had the home advantage that was in Kilnalek. Next was Derrynoose up in Armagh. We travelled up there, and it was wet conditions on the day, and it was a tight, gritty game. Now we won. The scoreline on that game doesn't reflect the toughness of that game. We won by a large margin that day, but it really doesn't reflect what went on the pitch that day. It really was a tight game. We were lucky to get the scores when we did, and then we got a hold in the second half and we got ahead and we won, which was fantastic. We wanted to get into that Ulster final and we got there. So the Ulster final there was last week up in Monaghan in Annamullen against Dungiven from Derry, which would have a very strong tradition of hurling and camogie up there, and it was a tight. It was one of the best teams we've played this year. They really were fantastic, and it was great to overcome them.
And you played once before. Was it once or twice before in Ulster?
Crosserlough, I think it's our fourth campaign in Ulster. The first campaign was in '99, and then we played again in 2008. It was at a lower grade. We got to an Ulster final that year, and then last year we got to the Ulster final at this particular grade, and this is our fourth.
And you said some of the clubs that might have hurling associated with it, that there might be a different skill set that people would have learned from.
Yeah.
And how would you feel that some of the clubs, the Ulster clubs particularly, how would you have felt that how would their style have changed? Or
well, they tend to play a fast physical game. You don't get much time on the ball at all. You really have to be quick. Your skill needs to be, you need to be very skillful, and you really need to be fast at your skills as well. They're tough sides, they're tough physical sides. There's nothing easy.
On your training, presumably you would have looked at some of the maybe your competitors, the way they play, or the style, or maybe individual players that you might have to mark, or every team would have maybe strong forwards or.
Well, in fairness, between Colm and Charlie, those two would sort that out. They just let us actually get to the training, do the training, focus on the actual next game. We don't have to worry about anything like that. You might go to your next game and you're told, well, listen, I want you to pick up on such and such a player and mark your position, do whatever has to be done. But in fairness to the two boys, they would have it all sussed out for us, do you know what I mean? We wouldn't have to worry about anything like that.
Yeah. And some games, two daughters played camogie and been to a few of the games, and it seems to at that level it seems to get it's fairly fast, and you really need to be on the top of both skill and fitness. So how would you equate the two? Which would be more important, the skills or are they equal?
Well, they're both equal, I would think.
Well, you definitely need both.
You need both.
You probably, like at this particular level, you do need both. You might get away, one or the other, up to this, before you'd enter Ulster. but you certainly need, I mean, I think that's what's been our strength this year, the fact that we've done consistent training all year, so we're all fit, we've worked on our skills, and we've such a big panel. It means, we don't have any weaknesses in any particular area. We've a strong panel, and I think that's really what has been the key to our success.
And with the panel, would different ones have different, you have so many people that might like to play forward or some midfield, or how would you work with a panel? Do people have to sort of settle into a set routine that do you allow them to find their own natural levels? You wouldn't want 14 forwards, So.
No, well, in fairness to Colm now, he would, especially when you come to any of the friendly games, he would try somebody in a different position to see how it would work out, and you normally know within 6 or 7 minutes whether it's working for that person or it's not. And sometimes when you are a forward, you could be waiting 6 or 7 minutes just to get the ball up to you, do you know what I mean? And you mightn't even get the chance to do it, but those friendly matches, that's why they're there, actually to try people out, so they are, right. Do you know? And
Roisin, you that came in from another club, every club is competitive in their own right when they're playing, and they're against maybe even neighbours, especially neighbours. There's a lot of rivalry. So how would you have fitted into the club? I'm not saying that they're a stranger, but coming from a different club. Maybe a competitor at some other...
Yeah, we would have competed against Crosserlough many times down through the years. So when there are so few clubs in the county, we've all met each other, we've all competed. But on the field and off is two completely different scenarios. When you're on the field, you're facing somebody in a helmet. They're there. They're an obstacle. They're not a person to you at all. So coming down to Crosserlough wasn't a problem at all. It was just I was coming down to meet these new people, and I have to say we were made very, very welcome, and it's been fantastic. The training has been fantastic. I've learned a lot. Right. And the different level, like our club Ballinya would have always been junior this last many years. Right. The level of training and the level of commitment is just it's completely different in Crosserlough, and it shows you what needs to be done in clubs. It's a great lesson in what needs to be done in clubs around the county to foster a good camogie community again in the county. I think Kilmallock and Crosserlough is a fine example of how to run a camogie club. Oh.
Now, I see you have the yellow and black. Would Kilkenny colours or something similar? So would you feel that you have the skills that they, or is it coming from the jerseys? Is it? No, I'm in trouble here.
I think when you do the work, though, I don't think it matters. The colours don't matter too much when you have the work done.
But when you have a strong identity as a club, people will see these almost like wasps coming out on the field and afraid of them. Is it? Do you intimidate the opposition as well as playing? Obviously play well, but do you intimidate them also?
I don't know about intimidating. Hopefully that in years to come the clubs will feel the Crosserlough jersey coming at them. I suppose coming from where we are, and this only being our second senior championship, that's the level that we want to get to. And have the other clubs fearing us. I suppose the last few years the benchmark has been the Lackins and the Castle Towers and their success, and that's what you have to try to emulate. And this year we've done that now, so we just want to push on from that and let them try and come after us then.
Right. So you're setting the bench fairly high, and people have to match up to you. So on the pitch, you don't fear anyone or anything. You have one
thing set in your brain, and that's it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of time you're out there playing and you don't even hear what's going on. Charlie could be shouting in at you to do something, and you're so focused on getting that ball. Sometimes you're nearly too focused that you can't even get the ball. Do you know that kind of way? You're just concentrating completely on it.
And playing as a team, sometimes going to some games, you'd see people that might have individual skills and that wish maybe to carry out those, and where it's probably important to play as a team as opposed to individual pieces. So how do you handle say those type of situations where you might feel that person will have to get them to play as a team member as opposed to an individual?
Well, that's where that work is done on the training field, so it is. And look, there's the saying goes, there's no I in team, and this has been a complete team effort. So it has. It's from 1 to 30 on the panel. Everybody has put their shoulder to the wheel and pushed on, and I would say as such there was really no standout, that it was a team of equals, all striving for the one goal.
Right, and that had been the mark of your success. You're also on the county board, so how important is it for you to be at that level, or for people to see you, that you're making a contribution and getting the voice of the different clubs heard at county level?
Well, I went in on the county board basically to represent our club. Everybody, in my opinion, each club needs to have representation in there to get a fair shot at it, because otherwise at times you could be dictated to if you don't have. You need to know what's going on in a county board level to be able to put forward the opinion of your club or the views of your club, so that everybody has equal representation, and hopefully what I see, everybody's in there for the good of Camogie, and that's the way you want it to be.
Right. And would say success, as the saying goes, success breeds success. How would you encourage younger people or younger members to join? Would people see your success as your role models within the community, and get people to participate, apart from playing, but just have physical activity, and people get involved from a social side of the thing? How do you engage with new members?
Well, new members would be very welcome, so they would, and in fairness to, say, the likes of Katrina Board and George Baglan, they work an awful lot with the underage, so they do. But it's in the 3 schools up there between Drumkilly, Crosserlough and Kilnalek, so there'll be a lot of training going on there, and then they're encouraged to join the club when they're the under 14s. You know what I mean? There's a lot of, over the winter months, indoor camogie for them, different things like that, and their parents are always told to come in and get involved, help out whenever they want, different things like that. So right from underage of under 14 up, then they come to under 16s. Actually this year the under 14s I think got to the league final and they actually lost it, so they did, but the under 16s then won, so they did. So there's a lot of work being done with the underage and bringing them on the whole time,
Well, we've worked with the hurling development, and they're saying it's important for schools and for parents to get involved. So would you liaise closely with the schools and encourage parents to participate and bring people to training and to games?
Oh yeah, well definitely the support you get up in Crosserlough, you nearly see more parents at the matches than you actually do see the children, that kind of way. They're all out in force. They're definitely there bringing them to every training session, every match. Like, it doesn't matter where the game is, the parent will be bringing them, and bringing them to every training session, even if it's 10 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the evening. They're there the whole time, so they are. So it's good. And
I would say that you said that there's 3 teams within the county. Would you see that if one club was winning everything, people say, why the hell should I bother going in? But would you now starting to win, would you see that other clubs might be encouraged, even through an amalgamation or something, to get other clubs involved? Would you feel that it'd be easier, or maybe not that you're at the highest level, you have won all the silverware, but would you feel that some clubs might get encouragement through going through or getting other clubs to amalgamations?
Well, I know at underage level within the county, Anne Donlan is doing great work with underage development, and she's bringing on new teams. I think actually there's 2 teams starting. There's a talk about a team starting in Lavey and one starting in Templeport. And they would have been camogie areas before where it would have waned, but the work that Anne is doing at county level is bringing that back, and you can see that there's more schools participating in the camogie competitions within the county, and that'll lead to more competitive teams as you come to under 14, under 16, and hopefully push it on to senior.
Right. And there's a lot of emphasis now on physical education, physical health, diet, and all those types of things, because schools, people, the comments about overweight or obesity within children, would the camogie board see that they could maybe work or have some type of discussions with schools that might get people that might have sedentary sort of life, that to get them involved or participate in some way, that get the benefits that you're getting out of it?
Yeah.
Well, Anne would be working at that. I know she's had development days to run. I think they just finished there about 3 or 4 weeks ago, but she would have had 6 or 7 development Saturdays with the under 13s and the under 15s, and they would have done different drills, as you said, nutrition, everything would have been taken into it, and trying to learn them in the right way going forward as to how they need to look after themselves, both health-wise and physically-wise in terms of being able to play good camogie.
Well, we're going to also cover some of the sponsorship, but before the sponsorship we have some photographs of your success, and maybe we could throw those up on the monitor and talk through them. I just had them now in a second. So that's obviously you're all together, and
Yeah, that's after the Ulster final last Sunday week. That's when the cup had been presented to us. Now, that again is after the Ulster final.
there must be a great feeling on the pitch, you know, the sense
Oh, it was,
winning.
yeah.
So that's the full panel, and when you have supporters and everything in at that
Yeah,
stage.
in fairness, that day the support that came between Ballina and like the whole parish, everybody was there cheering us on. Do you know what I mean? It's the first time in the history of the club for Crosserlough to actually achieve this, so it is. So everybody was there.
And that's the cup.
That's
Hand up maybe with one or two more photographs, and then would let you.
The girl with the cup, that's our captain, Siobhan Reynolds, and she's actually studying in Scotland, so she's one of the girls that's travelling over and back to games since last August.
Right. You also have a shield. I saw you with a shield. Maybe briefly go through that, and then we will we'll talk about, because sponsorship is a very important thing. We always try to feature sponsors. Various markets. Just talk briefly about the shield.
That's the 7-a-side shield, and that's the one competition within the county where all clubs compete in the same group, and that was for players who weren't involved with the county team. With the county team being so active at different times throughout the year, there was no club camogie being played, so the county board came up with this 7-a-side shield competition.
All right.
To give games when the county was playing, that players were getting games.
Yeah, so it was an incentive for
It was
people
an
to
incentive,
participate,
yeah.
and it's a reward for them. So that
Yeah.
it means that more people can engage and they feel that they're part of the club, or part of camogie even.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll talk about the sponsors. Like every successful team, or every team and every club needs sponsorship, and obviously you have a number of people who support the club. Maybe if you want to talk briefly about them, just to acknowledge the contribution to the club.
Well, our main club sponsor this year is, and has been for the past number of years, is Safety Solutions. Based in Dublin, Mary actually works with Safety Solutions. And then we've had associate sponsors this year. The Copper Kettle has sponsored us a set of T-shirts. Last year we had Byland's Pub and Celia Riley's shop in Killeneck as well that sponsored gear for us. And for them we're very grateful, and this year, like since winning the Ulster competition, the support we receive in the community from businesses and individuals alike has been just unreal, because with the trip ahead of us to London, it's an expensive trip, but thankfully the whole community, business, everybody has rode in, and without singling anybody out, because when you start singling people out you leave somebody, but we just want to take this opportunity to thank everybody for the support financially that they've given us.
Yeah, because every little thing, people don't realise that you have to maybe get buses, and you have to get loads of things that within the club or to support the team.
Yeah, well, look at this, travelling to London, there's buses, planes, buses
Trains.
again, accommodation,
Hotels.
hotels, the whole lot. You know, and look at it, standing at some of the collection points that we had. At times I didn't know whether it was embarrassing, but it's very humbling to see people coming over in such hard times. And the amount of money that individuals were given to us, it just makes you all the more determined. It shows the support that's behind you, but equally you want to go ahead and do well for those people.
Now, one important part of winning is you're going for a trip with the team to London. Maybe you talk us through that.
The trip with the team, it's not a social trip really, it's a business trip. We're as Ulster representatives now, you go on, and the game we're playing is actually an All-Ireland quarter-final where we play Tower of London. Last year Tower came over to Ireland to play the quarter-final. This year that distinction falls to us to travel over. So as I said, it's a business trip, it's a working trip. We're going over there to win the game, and hopefully we're back home on Sunday evening preparing for an All-Ireland semi-final the following week. That's the aim of the trip anyhow.
So you're going over with the same frame of mind that brought you all the silverware, so there'll be no prisoners taken.
No.
And you're going for a win.
Yeah, going for a win. success makes you greedy. We want to go all the way now.
And maybe with the gathering next year, we feature a lot of things on the gathering. You might invite the team back and maybe qualify for some of the support out there for the gathering, and it'd mean, you know, hospitality, various other things, and maybe some of the sponsors that have made a contribute might benefit from the teams coming over.
And hopefully something to look forward to.
Well, unfortunately we've come to an end, and we appreciate it. It's lovely to see so much silverware here in the studio, because Cavan needs that sort of boost, and it gives the confidence to people to go on. So thank you very much, and maybe we'll follow you at a later stage throughout the season next year. So from All About Sport on Top of the Town studio, it's good night, and we'll see you at the same time next week.